What's going on, Cougar fans? And welcome to the 2022 CUC Men's Lacrosse Telethon event. We're raising money to try to get the team out to North Carolina this spring break in 2023 season. Peter Borkowski here. I'm your host for tonight, joined right now by Coach Scott Gwynn of CUC Men's Lacrosse. Coach, how about you talk a little bit what we're trying to do tonight and what the end goal is when we come to spring break time?
Absolutely. So for those of you that don't know, we're trying to have our first spring break trip in program history where we're going down to North Carolina. The games are going to be at Guilford College and Methodist University. So Guilford's down in Greensboro, Methodist in Fayetteville, right by Fort Bragg for anybody that's from a military family. The trip is going to be from the 3rd through the 8th, so we're going to fly down from Midway down to Raleigh, take a trip over to Greensboro for a good game there. And then we're going to have a service project as well that Sunday, travel to Fayetteville on Monday. We play Wednesday, and then we fly back home because we have Trine on Saturday at Trine on the 11th. So it's going to be a heck of a trip. We're really looking forward to it. But the proceeds for today are going towards helping us fund that trip. As a smaller D3 university, sometimes we have to supplement our budget with fundraising. And this is exactly what we're doing for that. The proceeds today go towards not only travel costs, but lodging, food, experience as well. So, for example, I gave our guys an itinerary of some of the things we've been looking at doing. I love the Greensboro Science Center, and it's got a partial aquarium and zoo in it as well. Fantastic. So I want to take our guys there too, so that way you guys can get that experience. But on anything on top of what we raised today, if we hit our 19K goal, fantastic. That means we're good to go. Anything past that, that goes towards upgrading our practice equipment. That goes towards future trips and endeavors, maybe a team retreat next fall. It also goes towards better protective equipment for our players on the field. Helmets are always getting better, and brain safety is a huge, huge issue. So we're very excited about this trip. We're looking to do a lot of good. Playing lacrosse is fun. Serving the community is even more fun. But realistically, the main reason for the trip is so that way you guys can build bonds. You guys can grow together as a team and make lifelong memories. It's one of the best things to do is an extended trip with your team. So we're looking forward to it. And thank you for helping us out today, Peter.
Yeah, no problem, Coach. So once again, 19K is our goal for the spring break trip. Phone lines are open right now. You can see in the background of me and Coach Gwynn, members from the team are on their cell phones readily making calls to everyone they can. So you can also check out our donation link. That is cucougars.com/mlax22. One more time, cucougars.com/mlax22. So make sure to go to that link if you decide to donate. Help us get out to North Carolina come spring 2023. So it's going to be a fun night. Once again, everyone's making calls. We're going to have a couple guests on to interview as well. We got some stuff in the back room too for whenever a donation is made. So we're going to take a little break here and get set for our first interview when Dr. Kathy Gebhardt joins me here at the table for a little chat. And so again, we'll be back in just a minute. Welcome back to the 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event. Peter Borkowski here again, joined by a very special guest, Dr. Kathy Gebhardt, Vice President of Student Success here at CUC, as well as the Dean of Students. Dr. Gebhardt, welcome to the Telethon. It's nice to have you on. Thank you for supporting the team, too.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invite.
Well, we're going to ask you a couple questions, if you're okay with that. And let's start out with, before you were an administrator here at CUC, you had a long time involved with the athletic department as well, starting out as an athlete back in your college day, women's volleyball player in the CUC Hall of Fame, not to mention. But CUC actually wasn't your first choice of a college, I've heard. You were a transfer from Central Missouri State. So maybe talk us through, if you can recall, kind of your thought process of what drew you to transfer to Concordia, Chicago.
Sure. Well, I started my freshman year, as you mentioned, at Central Missouri State. I was on a volleyball scholarship there as a D2 school. And they're very good, actually. We were the conference champions that year, and so I had a good experience. But about halfway through that year, I started to really feel the call to be a Lutheran school teacher. And so knowing that, that would require a transfer, I started looking at my options and chose Concordia University River Forest at the time.
Right.
And so I came in the fall of '93 and was able to play 3 seasons here at Concordia. Yep.
Very nice. Well, after you were a player here, you spent some time coaching at CUC as well. Coached the volleyball team, coached the softball team. So what was the best part of coaching for you? I mean, maybe even talk about the contrast of being a coach here versus an athlete, just kind of your perspective on that.
Sure. The best parts of coaching, I think, were really the team and getting to know the players. They become sort of your family.
Right.
And so thinking back to those groups, both the volleyball players and the softball players I had the privilege to work with, just building great relationships with them, getting to know them. And, of course, now they're older, married, kids, that sort of thing. So staying connected with them has always been a real special part of having coached at Concordia. During the season, I would say one of my favorite things, and as a player, I would say my favorite things were playing the matches. But as a coach, I really liked planning practice. I loved executing practice, getting creative with drills and putting people in new scenarios and just challenging athletes in different ways. So I really enjoyed practice a lot as a coach.
Well, now between being a player here, being a coach here, now being an administrator, you've seen plenty of CUC athletics during your time here. What are some of your favorite moments, whether they be games, moments in games? What kind of comes to the top of your mind when someone says CUC athletics as being memorable?
Well, from my playing days, I would say the 1995 season sticks out for me. We were the conference champions that year. We went 10-0, had a great team, great chemistry, so it was just a lot of fun. As a coach, baseball has had a nice long stretch of success, and the 2017 and 2018 teams stand out as far as the World Series, College World Series, and getting to travel to watch those teams play was always exciting. And then I'll just throw a plug out, and maybe some of our current athletes haven't experienced this yet, but the CIT basketball tournament for both men and women, it's like Duke, Cameron Crazies, just 2 days of insane basketball.
It's making a return this year,
Making another return. So I would say when you think about Concordia athletics, you have to mention CIT.
Of course you do. Well, like I mentioned up top, you are the Dean of Students here, Vice President of Student Success. So one of those is making sure that your students are taken care of, not just, academically, but mentally as well. So maybe can you share some tips about well-being for student athletes, seeing that you were a student athlete here as well?
Sure. Well, I know there's a lot of pressure on student athletes, very busy students, with rigorous practice schedules as well as juggling academics. I guess my best advice would be, one, don't take yourself too seriously. Just take things one day at a time, especially in those points in the semester where academics are getting a little more challenging. Maybe it's getting near finals and things are stacking up, as well as peak times during the season. Other tips I would provide are things like getting plenty of sleep at night, and
Always
I know
important.
that can be a struggle, especially when you've got a lot of things on your to-do list, but sleep is critical to both academic success, mental health and well-being, and both athletics success as well. Diet and exercise, of course, always help to relieve some stress, and just staying disciplined, trying to plan ahead and prevent sort of the the panic moment when everything's coming due.
I think we've all had one of those.
Yeah. So time management is really key. But
Definitely.
Again, these are great life skills that can take students and student athletes well into life, with some successful strategies for coping when times get a little bit stressful.
Most definitely. Well, we're going to wrap up here, but I do have one more question since we are the men's lacrosse team. A little bit of a fun one. If you were to play attack in lacrosse, which is the scoring position, how many goals do you think you would score a game?
Yeah, that's a great question. I did get that one ahead of time, so I appreciate you giving me that one ahead of time. It's funny. My first thought was, well, what is the game plan, right? I have to sort of know what the coach's strategy
what your
is
role
and
in the team
what's
is.
my role. So I would start with that as far as, what would be sort of the expectation and how does my team view, am I a leader on the team, that sort of thing. But assuming that the expectation is that I'm to go out there and score as many goals as possible, I think I would be ambitious and say 5.
Okay.
So,
wow, not
yeah.
bad. You might have to suit up for us sometime soon.
So, well, I love offense. If you look at the record books, I like to hit the volleyball. So I imagine that translates into, to lacrosse, to being aggressive, and just to really get after it. So.
Well, once again, Dr. Gebhardt, thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
Thank you for showing your support for the team. One more time, Dr. Kathy Gebhardt, Vice President of Student Success here at CUC, as well as the Dean of Students. We're going to take a quick break and get set for our next interview, but don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back here on the 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event. Welcome back, 2022 Men's Lacrosse Fall Telethon event. Peter Borkowski back here on the call. One quick reminder, you can use our donation link, that's cucougars.com/mlax22 in case you want to help the team get to North Carolina for our spring break trip. But right now, joined by another special guest, Janet Walbert, Assistant Athletic Director here at Concordia University, Chicago. Welcome, Janet. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for showing your support for the team.
Hey, thanks for the invitation. I appreciate being asked. You know, I love working with you guys. You're a great team, and I'm happy to do whatever I can to help support you guys.
Most definitely. Well, let's get some questions out of the way. Why don't we?
If you must.
Say nothing too hard, I don't think. But let's start with your history here at CUC, because not only were you a player here, but now, of course, you're an administrator here. So what made you choose to come to CUC twice? For your playing days and now for as your time as an administrator?
So I grew up in the Lutheran church, went to Lutheran school my whole life, and developed a passion for teaching and learning and education at a fairly early age. And so when it was coming time into high school and stuff, thinking about colleges and what I wanted to do, I knew I wanted to go into education, be a teacher. And so I wanted to stay in the Lutheran school system. So this was obviously one of my choices, trying to stay within that Concordia, with the Concordia system. And then looking back at the teachers I had while I was going to school too, a lot of my favorite ones went to school here.
Oh, okay.
And my aunt went to school here, and she was also a Lutheran teacher. And so when, obviously I had to visit the other Concordias.
Right.
Now, I was not going to go to Nebraska.
Oh,
Sorry.
Yeah. No, we don't talk about Nebraska.
No, I'm not going to live in the middle of Nowheresville amongst corn. And ironically, Concordia, Wisconsin was the first one I went and visited at.
Okay.
It was it was, but then I came and visited here the next day, and within 10 minutes I looked at my mom and I said, this is where I'm going to school.
Really?
I said, I'm at home, this is where I'm going to be.
Yeah, just got that feeling.
Lock it down. And, and then the rest of my visit just certified or reinforced that concept. Met with Dr. Bose, the head of the math department, met with a couple people in the English department or in the education department. Met with the basketball coaches, and I was just like, this is it. This is where I'm going to go.
Okay.
So did that, graduated in 96, and then came back 20 years later in 2016 in the role I'm currently in.
Right.
And I had been high school math teacher and worked into athletic administration, and made the decision, I want to make the jump to college.
Okay.
And looked at a couple different options. And when Kathy called me, when this position came open, she's like, hey, do you think about moving to Chicago? And I'm like, well, let's talk about it.
Right.
And 3 months later, I was here. So, but again, it's just that home feeling. And I love working in the D3 atmosphere. And again, it's still at the faith-based Lutheran school, so I'm still at home.
All right. Well, kind of building off that question really quick, you've spent time here as an athlete, you spent time here as an administrator. What kind of what perspectives, perspective change would you say you got, as your time as an athlete looking at the athletic department, now as your time as an administrator looking at the athletic department?
The athletic department has definitely grown. Leaps and bounds, huge, because when I was a student here along with Dean Gebhardt, we didn't have soccer, we didn't have lacrosse.
Right.
We didn't have some of the facilities we have now. I mean, the football field was grass with a cinder track.
Yeah.
So, just the amount of improvements we've had. We've added soccer teams, we've added both lacrosse teams, we've added men's volleyball, we've added stunt. And so that's just the idea of that we keep growing and developing these new programs and adding them to be more competitive in the recruitment process.
Right.
What are athletes looking for? What sports do they want to play in college? And see what we can do to offer those to bring more students to Concordia.
Well, now during your time here at CUC, you've seen plenty of athletic events, I'm sure.
Just only one or two.
Oh, just a couple? Oh,
yeah, just
never
a
mind.
few.
We can forget this question.
Yeah, I've hardly watched any sports at all.
So, what are some of the most exciting events that you've been able to witness here at CUC? I know that opens up a lot of doors.
It opens up a lot of doors.
Maybe a couple that float to the top of the.
As a student athlete, right away I go back to my freshman year. We were lucky enough to host CIT my freshman year.
Okay, right.
And so Kathy mentioned CIT earlier, so we hosted that my freshman year, and our men's team won that year. And so just being in Geisman, being in the North Gym with the whole gym, it was completely solidly packed. If you see any of the pictures from we hosted it last in 2020, being around there, I mean, imagine just even that much more full, as much as you possibly can. And then it just, because it was a come from behind win. I don't even remember who we beat. I just remember it was an amazing come from behind win. It was really great, and getting to see, newfound friends and everything, being in that competitive environment. And it was just a really, big event to be part of it as a player.
Right.
And then, of course, watching Kathy play volleyball was amazing. You know, I remember that championship tournament and stuff that she talked about with the back in '95 as well too. Unfortunately, the team I played on, we didn't have that type of experience, but we got to watch some of that experience. Right. So, and then obviously, you know, since I've been back, you had the baseball team go to the World Series a couple times, hosting regionals and super regionals in 2019. That was an amazing thing to see. Yeah. You know, adding those extra stands in the, you know, up by first base and everything, and just seeing that all that celebration. And then, you know, it's just anytime I can watch our guys come back and win, or watch our students have a good game, come out on top. Like this past Saturday, the Venue football game.
Yeah, that was a great game.
That was a great game.
That was a great atmosphere.
And it was a good atmosphere. It was fun to watch, even though the wind was blowing me and
those goalposts were coming out close.
Yeah, well, and if you missed it, the play clock fell over, and then I'm trying to fight it as we to try to fit. But you know, but just anytime that I can see our athletes competing and playing hard, it's always a good thing. Right.
Well, now one of your duties as assistant athletic director is your involvement with the Student Athlete Advisory Committee here at CUC, known as SAC. So maybe talk a little bit about that and why that is such an important kind of tool here on Concordia for the student athletes.
I think the biggest thing with SAC is that it gives the student athletes more of a voice. And so, you know, we always say that we use the student athlete voice at Division III, but this is their opportunity to truly utilize their voice and give us their thoughts and opinions on different things. You know, there's a couple of pieces of legislation coming up this year in the NCAA convention that we're looking at changing a few things involving playing seasons and voting rights and a couple of other aspects, that this is the opportunity for our student athletes to say, no, this is what we want for our playing career and for our experience while we're student athletes. And so I think that's always a great thing. And I think it's also a good thing, you know, at the school level versus the national level, it gives our student athletes an opportunity to grow in their leadership skills and get involved with other activities on campus. Like we recently did the food drive, you know, the Kansas Cross Conference. Right. We're looking at doing a couple of Special Olympics events. And so it's always just trying to look at other ways that we can be involved in the community other than just playing our sports. Right,
definitely. All right, now one last question to wrap things up on. What's the best part of lacrosse, in your opinion? Or shifting it towards our team now.
Yeah, no, let's actually go to lacrosse. And see, now here's going to be the weird thing. For me to understand the game of lacrosse, I actually have to put it in basketball terms.
Okay, that's fair.
So I learned.
Even I do that sometimes.
I learned early in my career that, you know, I know how the defense is supposed to work because after all my years of coaching basketball and playing basketball.
Those rotations.
Yes, I know where you all are supposed to be on the defensive rotations because I've run the same things just with
an extra
5
person
instead of 7.
Right.
But yeah, you know, and I think just the excitement of, you know, getting down the field and, you know, trying to take the shots on goal and that type of stuff. It's just, to me, it's a, you know, it's more. I hate to say this, but it's like more exciting than soccer because there's more shots on goal.
Right.
In my opinion, and it's
faster paced.
Yeah, it's a little bit of faster pace and stuff, but it's also, you know, it's the finesse part of it.
Okay.
Instead of like in football you have the brutal strength, which trust me, I love sports. You know, I will watch any game you put on TV.
Right.
I'm watching this one here.
Right.
But it's just the finesse that's involved with lacrosse and, you know, the strategy stuff. I enjoy watching it.
Definitely.
So, and I will also say, too, the members of the lacrosse team who are amazing young men to work with, so I appreciate you all.
Okay. Well, thank you for that little compliment. But, Janet, thanks again for joining us tonight. Thanks again for showing your support for the team as you do all year round as
you're
well.
You're welcome.
But we're going to take one more break here. We're going to take a little bit of a longer break. Then we're going to be back with one of the players from the team to have a little chat with. But, again, you're watching the men's 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event here, and we'll be right back after this break. back here at the 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event. Peter Borkowski joining you again. Once again, that donation link to get us to North Carolina is cucougars.com/mlax22. Also find that link down in the comment section of the live stream. So 2 ways to find it now. But one more interview coming up. We got a couple more interviews, but one right now with Aiden Vizi, captain of the team, 5th-year member of the team, defenseman, one of my defensemen, I should say. So careful what you say here, Aiden, but excited to
no promises,
talk
Peter.
to you with microphones now.
No
so we talk to each
promises.
other a lot. Well, I guess let's start with, well, I kind of brought this up right before we got on, but you are the longest tenured player here on the team. This will be your 5th year coming up. A couple other 5th years, but you're the one who's played your whole career here at CUC. So maybe talk about some of the changes you've seen on the team over your 5 years.
You know, I mean, from coming in my freshman year to with a coach that I was originally supposed to go to another school. Everything fell out with that school. Brian Welch, the old head coach who brought me in, he was fantastic when he was here. Ended up leaving us after my junior year after COVID. Coach Scott Gwynn came in. I mean, absolutely changed this program around for the better, in my opinion. Fantastic guy. You know, I've seen people come and go through these doors. There's, like you said earlier, there's a couple of us who stuck through it all 3-4 years so far. I mean, Sean Dooley's one of those guys who joined the team after quitting football at Concordia, came in and was like, you know what, I'm sticking with it. He's going on his 4th year now. Zach Cicero, who you should be interviewing later on.
He'll be on later.
Another guy who was on the football team and decided he was going to play lacrosse. And, I mean, now look at him. He's taking a 5th year and everything. So definitely seen a couple changes throughout the history and program history, but I think all for the better, to say the least. I mean, I've loved my time here through the changes and everything, which is always great.
Well, I guess the next one is, why'd you come to CUC to begin with? Because you're all the way from out in Connecticut on the East Coast, so a bit of a hop to get over here to Chicagoland. But what drew you here to CUC all those 5 years ago?
5 years ago, I mean, I wasn't the smartest student, I would say. I mean, my GPA wasn't fantastic. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. SAT scores wasn't fantastic either. But I came out here on a visit for a weekend, absolutely fell in love with the people, absolutely fell in love with the university, the atmosphere here. Felt welcomed the minute I stepped foot out of the airport. I had a couple guys waiting to pick me up from that airport ride. Nice 15-hour drive-ish area. So I came out on my own and just immediately stepped on campus and fell in love with it, fell in love with the people, met so many great people that first weekend, and just immediately clicked.
Well, let's talk about the current iteration of the team right now. What draws you to this team? Like, let's pretend that we're talking to a transfer right now. How would you kind of sell this current group of guys to kids who are looking to come to CUC? What's really special about this current group of players?
I mean, this current group of guys, I mean, last year we had 12.
Yeah.
I mean, that was very low.
I was there for it, yeah.
Yes. I mean, you know, we had 12 guys. So, but I mean, we only had one person graduate. So, I mean, if that doesn't show dedication that these guys and these behind me have for this team, I don't really know what else does. Because if this team is willing to go out there with 12 guys last year, imagine what we can do with 22. Imagine what we can do with even 20.
And then we get up to 30 and
30
more
and
and more
building
and more.
up this program. So imagine that dedication we had. Our record might not have shown it, but who cares? That dedication that I saw on that field, that's all you need.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I guess now kind of going through your history, what are some of your favorite memories? Lacrosse memories on the CUC team, kind of, you can go anywhere with this one.
Starting off, I mean, that first collegiate win we got as a program history, I mean, that was massive. You know, my freshman year, we broke about 10, maybe close to 10 records in just 1 year. Which is absolutely phenomenal, to say the least. And then having those guys, like, who have been here with me at least 3 years, just building relationships with them, building friendships, hanging out with them on the weekends, getting to go downtown.
Always a good time.
Which is amazing. Having that ability to go downtown, which is great.
Well, I guess let's talk about the other part of your time here at CUC, which is, of course, the academic side. You are working to become a PE teacher, let's say, not gym, PE teacher. what's special about the academics here at CUC? We've talked about the athletics. Now let's talk about the academics, because you're also or have spent time as a tour guide here at CUC. This pitch should be pretty good.
I have. Yeah, I mean, the ability to not only play the sport I love, but get a fantastic education. I mean, our education program here is one of the best, not only in the state but in the country. So having the ability to not only focus on my education, but also my collegiate lacrosse goals and what I want to do for life. I mean, currently right now I'm student teaching, which is like our internship for teaching-wise. Absolutely love it. Professors here, fantastic. It's about a 17-to-1 student-teacher ratio.
Yeah.
So super small class sizes.
Right. Very personalized.
Professors are phenomenal. Faculty, staff. Like you guys talked with Janet earlier. She's been there helping me out through a lot.
Right.
Not only our faculty, but our staff.
Right.
Beautiful through academics and athletics. They're always there to support you, which is always fantastic.
Right. Well, let's flip it back to athletics to end things off here. Outside of the lacrosse team, which we've talked about a lot, this athletic community here at CUC is very different from a lot of other schools, and you've seen a lot of it through your time here. So what makes this athletic program as a whole so special, even outside of the lacrosse team?
I mean, the ability to have those other sports and other athletes from the same community and supporting the same type of people. I mean, we're the Cougars. I mean, everybody goes to everybody's game. I mean, you'll have people at no matter what game it is. It could be a tennis match. You'll see people there.
Yeah.
It could be a basketball game, soccer game. You're always going to have people in those stands. You're always going to be supported, feel that support not only from the faculty, your coach, the staff, whatever it may be, but also from the other student athletes as well, and just students in general. I mean, the community here, absolutely electric. I can't say enough about it.
Of course. Well, Aiden VZ, everyone, captain of the team, fifth-year member, joining me for a little chat here, a little bit more of a professional chat, I guess, than what we're used to. But, again, trying to get the team out to North Carolina this spring break trip. $19K is our goal. That donation link, one more time, cucougars.com/mlax22. Also find it in the comment section of the video you're watching right now. We're going to take a very quick break. We'll be back with another interview in just a couple minutes, so don't go anywhere. Peter Borkowski back here on the 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event, trying to raise $19,000 to get the team out to North Carolina for our spring break trip during the 2023 season. The donation link you can use is cucougars.com/mlax22. But right now, got another interview to do. Tina Hines, Assistant Athletic Director here at CUC. Welcome to the event tonight. Happy to have you here and showing your support for the team.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
All right. Well, Tina, now you went to another Concordia for a student. You went to
other
CUW, the other one. Right, let's put it that way. And so you can kind of talk about that a little. You could talk about CUC, but in general, what makes a Concordia education special to you? Again, whether it's CUC or CUW, what would you kind of sum that up as?
Well, actually, I see a lot of similarities in both of them. When I was at CUW, the thing that stuck out the most to me would be just the small classes and how friendly everyone was. And walking through the hallway, everyone would say hello to you, and it's just nothing that you would have at a bigger school.
It's a very tight community.
Very tight community, and the relationships that are built within these, like I met my husband there, and it's just really fun to see how people get so close and have their lifelong friendships.
Right.
From
So I've asked Janet this when she was on. I asked Dr. Gebhardt this when she was on. So now it's your turn for it. What are some of the most exciting athletic events you've had the pleasure of seeing while here at CUC? There's been some good ones, but maybe you can narrow it down a little bit.
I have seen a lot. So I guess the ones that come to my mind the most would be the 2012 football 10-0 season, where then we hosted the playoffs, and we had to bring in, the thing I remember about that is we had to bring in like an additional 500 seating, like all these bleachers. Like it was insane. Same thing for our baseball super sectional. So it was really exciting for the community and to just have that excitement on campus. Yeah. Also, I always love the Hall of Fame banquets. I don't know if you've been to one, but it's so awesome to see the people come back and just see where their lives are at now and the relationships that they've made when they were here, and just how far they have come. It's incredible.
Right. Well, now your son Cooper is actually a recent graduate of CUC. So from a parent's perspective, which is a little unique for you also as an administrator, what makes the CUC athletics, experience so special? Again, from the point of a parent and or an administrator.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that these coaches in this community, they just love the student athletes. They care about them. They support them in every way. And it was a little challenging being a parent. Having my kid on the field, that was very stressful, but very exciting. He had a great 4 years and great experience. And again, he has built lifelong friendships, and he's got a great job. And so good.
Now, do you think that experience, does it differ at all coming from an alum like your son is, or coming from an administrator? Is there some kind of, I don't know if disconnect is the right word, but a little bit of a different perspective in that kind of going from a student athlete / alum to an administrator?
I would say, with my position, I work behind the scenes, so I don't get to meet a lot of the student athletes. I am at a lot of the games. But I would say as an administrator, I just like to see how the students grow and just the excitement that they have when they come in. And
no, I get that. All right, now your son Cooper was a baseball player during his time here at CUC, so we're going to kind of do a little switcheroo here. If the players were to switch positions, so you got lacrosse players playing baseball players playing lacrosse, do you think a lacrosse player would be able to hit more home runs, or would a baseball player score more goals?
Yeah, that is a good question, and I've really pondered over that. And the strategy is so different. But honestly, and I want to know what you think too, but I think it would be harder for a baseball player to hit home runs.
A lacrosse player to hit home runs?
I'm so sorry.
No,
yes,
I got
exactly.
you. Yeah.
But with hitting or getting a shot into a lacrosse net, there is such skill, and it's not something that you can just hit a ball.
You just pick up, right?
Yeah. But there's a lot of skill with lacrosse in a baseball player. I don't know if they could just get up and do that. I think, that's hard. What do you think?
I think hitting a home run would be harder. Coming
Do
from a
you?
lacrosse player, I mean, I've also grown up watching baseball, but I don't know. There's just, I think the idea of hitting a round object with another round object really hard is
Yeah.
pretty difficult. And, you know, scoring a lacrosse goal isn't easy either. It's
No.
It's like to say that's why I play goalie, but, you know, I think hitting a home run would be a little bit more challenging.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm all over the board.
All right. Well, Tina, thanks for joining us tonight.
you.
Thank you for showing your support for the team
Absolutely.
tonight, as you do throughout the rest of the year as one of our administrators.
Thank you.
But we're going to take a quick break. Then Coach Gwynn's going to be back sitting here with the microphone to thank some of the donors so far. They've used that donation link, cucougars.com/mlax22. But again, we're going to take a couple-minute break, and then Coach Gwynn will be right with you.
Hey everyone, this is Coach Gwynn here at the 2022 CUC Men's Lacrosse Telethon event. Want to take a second to thank everybody that's donated so far. So now this is not everybody that's donated for the entire night. This is up to the point where we decided to get ready for this segment. So I'm going to go through the names here and thank each of you that have donated. Your support means the world to us. So Coach Maloney, thank you for your donation today. Kevin Hudson, thank you for your donation today. Terry Gwynn, thank you for your donation today. Alexis Montgomery, our student manager, who's over to my left right now, thank you for the $1 donation. Lauren Powell, thank you for your donation. Jeffrey Powell, thank you for your donation. Teresa Wilcox, thank you for your donation. Jennifer Jedras, thank you for the support and your donation. Alex Tweary, thank you for your donation. Ben Lang, thank you for your support and donation. Travis Tabor, thank you for your donation. Tyler Boosie, I hope I'm saying your name right, thank you for your donation. Layla Dooley, thank you for your donation today. McKenna Stanley, thank you and your family for the support today. Jacob Carmia, Coach Carmia, for those of you that don't know, thank you for the donation today. Matt Lobb, thank you for your donation today. That's one of our players. He's sitting, he's somewhere. He's over there. He's on the phone right now working. Phyllis Landry, I apologize, your name got cut off, but Phyllis, thank you for your support. Gary Borkowski, thank you for your support. I have S. Van Many, thank you for your support. Taylor Barnett, thank you for your support. Megan again, I apologize, guys. It got cut off on the sheet. Megan, thank you for your support today. Kenny Porter, thank you for your donation today. Ty Plock, thank you for your donation today. Matt Dodge, thank you for your donation today. Christopher, I believe it's Ackerman. I apologize again, your name got cut off. Thank you for your donation and support today. Caitlin Heffley, thank you for your support today. David Landwehr, thank you for your support today. Curtis Burnett, thank you for your support today. Stephen Lewandowski, thank you for your support today. And Donna Butcher, my aunt, for those of you that know. Terry Gwynn was my mom, listed earlier. Thank you guys for your support. Everything that you're doing to support these gentlemen around me means the world to not only myself, but to them and to our program and to the alumni and everybody that's part of this program. Thank you for everything today. It means the world. We'll be back here in a second with more to come. And at the end of the next hour, we'll go back and finish thank yous for the donation. So again, everyone, thank you for your support and stay tuned.
What's going on, Cougar lacrosse fans? Peter Borkowski here again, and I'm joined by a very special guest, President of Concordia University Chicago, Russell Dawn. President Dawn, welcome to the call-a-thon tonight. It's really an honor to have a chance to sit down and talk to you virtually, I should say.
Thanks, Peter. It's great to be here. I appreciate the time.
Well, thanks for helping out with our endeavor to get the team out to North Carolina this upcoming spring break. But let's start asking some questions. So you've been president of CUC since 2019. You spent some time at a couple other schools beforehand, Lindenwood University down in St. Louis, as well as another Concordia Irvine out in California. But now that you've been here at CUC for a couple of years now, what makes CUC different? What makes the faculty here, the students here, or someone like you, an administrator, what makes the group here at CUC different?
That's a great question. And I think something I've seen here that I haven't seen anywhere else is such love for the place, such love for the university. It really is. It's infectious. We have people on the staff who've been here since they were students 30 years ago, and people, they're dedicated to one another, dedicated to Concordia, dedicated to making it work together. And I've seen that other places, but I've never seen it like I've seen it here. It's a great place.
Mm-hmm. Well, kind of building off of that, if you could describe the students here at CUC in a few words, what would they be? Like you said, there's a wide variety of students here for a wide variety of reasons, but if you can kind of put the group together in a few words, which I know is a tall task, what would you say about the group here at CUC?
Yeah, that's a good question. And you're right. It is a very, very diverse group of students, diverse in a lot of different ways. But one thing I've seen kind of across the board is people are resourceful. So many of our students work and study and play a sport or play an instrument in an ensemble, and all finding a way to succeed. That's really being resourceful. being there for their families, as well as for their teammates and their classmates. I've seen a lot of that. Another one is resilient. Been through COVID, pretty crazy political times, yet here we are succeeding together, which is great to see. So a lot of resiliency. And then supportive. I tell you, I was the faculty mentor for the men's soccer team. Man, just always being there for one another. Anytime I go to an athletic event, there are students from other teams there supporting the team. And in the music ensembles, just in the hallways, I see it all the time. The students are supportive of one another, and that means a lot. I don't always let on when I see it. I'm not going to just comment on it as I'm walking by, but it is good to see. That's that kind of community matters.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's look to the future a little bit, as there are some exciting things coming to CUC in the future. So what are some of the most exciting things that future students can expect here to see at CUC if they end up choosing to come here for their college education?
All right. Well, the number one is this nursing simulation lab that we have under construction right now. It should be finished not for the spring semester, but during the spring semester. Ready for usage in the fall. Very exciting for us, and the progress is going really well. Others, so if we're talking longer term, because probably sophomores through seniors won't get to see this one, but actually a brand new science building is number one on our slate for major new projects. But that is a major one. So like I said, most current students won't ever get to see that one, but it's exciting. I mean, IFRG is like an old friend, but IFRG Hall is a tired old friend, and so we're gonna need something new for our students, and our students deserve the best. So we're going for that, and it's really exciting.
Mm-hmm. All right, now let's end with a little bit of a fun question here. Obviously, this is a fundraiser for the men's lacrosse team. So, President Don, if you were to play lacrosse, what position do you think you would play? And maybe you could give a little rationale behind it.
Oh, well, that's actually an easy one. So picture your player who is the slowest and the most likely to get injured, and I will play backup to that guy. So there it is for you. It's the role I was made for.
Yeah, well, there's always a spot for you on the team, President Don, if you ever want to fulfill your lacrosse dreams. But President Don, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, helping out the lacrosse team with our endeavor for our spring break trip. I really had a good time talking to you.
You too. Thanks very much. Good luck to you guys.
All right. Thank you, President Don. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Back here on the 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event, Peter Borkowski, your host, joined by Zach Cicero, fifth-year player on the team. Zach, happy to have a chat with you right now.
Thanks, Pete. Me too, man. Thank you.
So, Zach, let's start with when you came here to CUC, you actually didn't come to play lacrosse. You were a football player here and then eventually joined the lacrosse team. So can you maybe talk about that decision a little bit? What drew you to the lacrosse team?
It was something I always wanted to dabble in, and you got to jump in to swim. So join the team, and let's go, man. So.
Well, have you been satisfied with that decision, I guess?
I am 100% satisfied all the time, Pete. So, especially with men's lacrosse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I guess let's talk about that a little bit more.
Sure.
Were there any skills you think that were transferable from football to lacrosse? I think there's probably a little bit of crossover between the two.
Yeah, definitely the running aspect, cardiovascular, and just my physical mindset, did not shy away from contact one bit. So that really helped out the transition.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, let's talk about your time here at CUC as a whole. Go back 5 years. What drew you to CUC to start? What made you pick Concordia? What made Concordia Chicago the winner?
I needed to find God, and I picked this place, and he actually told me to come here.
Really?
So, yeah, and the rest was history.
Yeah,
so
here you are 5 years later.
Amen, brother.
All right, well, what have some of your favorite memories been, whether they be on the lacrosse team, whether it be here at CUC in general? What kind of comes to the top of your mind when someone says your time here at Concordia?
It's definitely the people. The people who made this place amazing and continue to. every day, every interaction is a chance for, a lifelong friendship. And I fully believe that I've met some of the best people in my life here.
Well, and I asked Aiden this when he was on earlier, but if you're trying to sell the lacrosse team, this current group of guys, to, incoming transfers or, first-year players looking for their college of choice, how would you sell this team? What makes this group of guys different from, any other lacrosse team?
Great question. We may not be perfect, and we may have, problems or quirks of our own, but together, we're a team, we're a family, and I mean that from the deepest down part of my heart. It's the Island Misfit Toys. We all just fit together like a messed up puzzle piece. That's us.
Well, hey, sometimes that's the best way to fit together, I guess.
Yeah, right.
All right, and then I kind of blanked on what I was going to say. Oh, so the academic part of CUC, I asked Aiden about this too. You're also going to be a physical education educator, just like Aiden was, Aiden who was on earlier. So what makes the academics here at CUC special? For students that actually looking, for the student side of CUC, how would you try to sell that to them?
It's small classrooms, professors who know your name, and they know the way you learn, and it's a deeper level of connection. You're not sitting in a lecture hall of 500 or even 1,000 kids, and it's just that tight, small knit group. My biggest class in all 5 years here probably was 30 people. So, and that was a freshman gen ed class.
Right.
So that's something that I strived, that one-on-one communication, and it's definitely helped me out in the long run. So.
And now, last thing here, of course, the end goal of the Telethon event and all the fundraising we're doing is for the spring break trip out to North Carolina. But as someone who's probably been on trips like this before, what makes them so special? Why should we strive for this goal?
It's definitely that team camaraderie and that experience. It's not just going there to play the game. It's going there and making lifetime memories and moments, and it's bigger than the game. And we're actually going to do a lot of volunteer impacting out there. So, that larger world impact also is definitely going to carry a lot more weight than just the games. So.
Well, Zach, all grade A answers from Mr. Cicero, fifth-year member of the lacrosse team. Having a little bit of fun over here as well. So we're going to take a quick break. Oh, yeah. Perfect. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back in just a little bit with another interview. But once again, you can use that donation link, cucougars.com/menlax22. But once again, we'll be back in just a couple minutes here at the 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event.
We need all the help we could get.
What's going on, Cougar lacrosse fans? Peterborough County. Back here on the 2022 CUC Men's Lacrosse Telethon event, trying to raise $19K to get the team out to North Carolina for our 2023 spring break trip. Another interview coming right now with Caleb McLeod, Sports Information Director here at CUC, my boss as well. So got to be careful what I say here. But careful. You were also a student athlete here at CUC just a couple of years ago as well. So as an alum and now someone who's worked here as well, but specifically as a former student, what was the biggest benefit of studying here at CUC?
So one of the best things about CUC is that you're not only getting your academic experience and your athletic experience, but you're able to get the real world experience, kind of exactly what you're doing in this situation. When I was a student athlete here, I was also working in the athletic communications department, which was able to prepare me for my future career, which is here. And then it's not just the athletic communications department that offers that. I know that there's student workers in the athletic training department that, you know, they're able to get that real world experience while they're still in college. They're going through the classes, they're playing their sports, and they're getting themselves set up to have a successful career all at the same time. And I think that that's something that's super special here, because you've got the people that, you know, everybody that you've interviewed today has, I think everybody except for Miss Tina has been a former student here. So everybody, you know, you feel that deep-rooted kind of everybody that is here now wants to be here, like we were all here before. And so that, I think that feeds into the fact that, you know, you get that experience in multiple ways rather than just academics or just athletics. You get real world academics, athletics, all of it kind of encompassed in one.
Well, now looking at it, now that you've been able to look at it from a student athlete side and from an administrative side, what makes this athletic department here at CUC so special? I mean, besides, you know, just the sport you play, you're a women's basketball player, but just outside of that, what makes the athletic community as a whole so great here at Concordia?
I think the fact, again, that so many of us were former student athletes here, or we were student athletes, period. One of the things that I know our office is very big on is knowing what we wanted as student athletes and being able to turn around and give that to the current student athletes. And I think that everybody in our athletic department now has that same mindset of like, hey, I wanted this when I was a student athlete and I didn't get it, so how can I make sure that the student athletes now get that? And I think that that across the board, everybody kind of focuses on the athlete experience and takes our prior experience into account and how we can further the current student athlete experience.
Right. Well, I asked Janet this, I asked Dr. Gebhardt this, I asked Tina this, but now either from your time as a student or your time back in the sports information department, what are some of the most exciting athletic events you've seen here at CUC?
Yeah, I think I would be burned at the stake by my former teammates if I didn't say hosting CIT here. My junior year of college, we hosted CIT here, and it was just an absolute phenomenal experience. The gym was packed, it was loud. We had the bleachers up by the batting cages pulled out, so it felt like it was the biggest stadium you'd ever been in. Loud experience, everybody was out, and being able to kind of have that kind of environment on your home court, it's unbeatable. But second to that was we hosted the 2019 baseball regionals here, and that was one of my big first opportunities to really create content for the athletic department. And I was a student worker during that time, and I was able to kind of experience the fan side. I was able to see how cool, you know, hosting an event like that really was, but also being able to work and being able to be in the mix of all of it, to be able to get content and do all of these things. That was a really cool experience. And those are kind of the two biggest things that I've really been a part of. Last year I worked the men's basketball playoff games that we hosted at home.
Right. Those were great.
So that was kind of the first big event that I've been in a situation as an employee. But those are all, you know, they come and go, but those are the ones that definitely stuck out to me the most.
Right. Well, now that you are director of the athletic communications department, newly named director too, just a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
What exciting things can we expect to come from the office? I think I might be learning something too as an employee, but in the coming years, I mean, even this school year, what's some of the stuff that we're cooking up?
Well, we're always trying to look for ways to improve ourselves. In the last few years, we really prided ourselves in being one of the best athletic communications department in D3, and we really want to keep that name. We really want to keep that standard. So being able to kind of adapt and grow with everybody else around us is huge. You know, we want to be able to continue. I want to be able to make the promise that all of our teams can get multi-camera broadcasts, you know, and we're taking those steps. Over the summer, we just installed a video cable under the softball field so that we can we can run 2 cameras at softball at all times. So we're taking these steps, and those are the things that, they come here and they come there, but continually we're growing, and we want to kind of keep that trend. So being able to invest in the fact that we're going to hopefully get to the point where we can promise that for all of our teams, I think that's going to set us apart huge.
And a new video scoreboard.
And a new video scoreboard.
Football field,
yes,
always nice.
Of course.
And then last thing here, you earned a famous nickname on campus during your time as an athlete here.
Yes.
So maybe you want to share that with everyone watching and why you got that nickname.
Yeah, so my sophomore year of college on the women's basketball team, I earned the nickname McClutch. I think that my coach gave it to me. I think she was the first one to coin that, but don't quote me on that. It kind of just got tossed around. I was very much the person that I had everything that anybody needed. I was the person that did anything that was needed. I was a forward thinker type of person. So there was one situation where I don't remember exactly, again, it was a while ago, but my coach said something, and I was like, oh, yeah, I already took care of it. And she was like, and that's why you're McClutch. And then it just kind of stuck from there, and someone would be like, hey, who has a tape cutter? And I'd be like, oh, I have one in my backpack. And then they'd be like, McClutch. And then it kind of just snowballed from there. And so when I, started working here full time, they started calling me Director McClutch or things like that, and it just kind of stuck around. And my teammates liked to pick fun at my last name too, because they would take the Mick and they would put it in front of anything. So I had an extra $1 in my pocket one time, and one of my teammates was like, "Oh, Mick Bucks has got me." So they kind of just throw Mick in front of anything that applies, and it kind of rolls. But McClutch just kind of became the default name, and for a while I didn't answer to anything else other than McClutch or McLeod or Mick Bucks or something. Like when someone would call me Kayla, I wouldn't register it. I would only register McClutch, so kind of just stuck.
Well, Kayla, thanks for sitting down with me. Not used to you being the one I'm interviewing.
Not at all.
So thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for running the scenes too, I should say. Kayla's been the one helping keeping this stream going. So thanks for her putting all that effort in. But
thank you for having me.
We're gonna take a quick break here. We'll be back with one more interview. We're gonna actually have a highlight tape for you guys really quick, and then we'll be back with one more interview for the night as we wrap things up here. The 2022 CUC Men's Lacrosse Telethon event. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.
Stars! First goal of the game for the Cougars. Hadley scores! Goal number 2 of the team. Cougars are up 2-0. Scored that time. To Oregon. Cougars are up 10-0. Scored that time. Telethon again.
Welcome back to 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event here on the campus of Concordia University, Chicago. Peter Borkowski running the show here. For those just tuning in, we're trying to raise $19,000 to get the team out to North Carolina spring break 2023 to play Guilford College and Methodist University. Right now, we got our final interview of the night. Coach Devin Caesar, grad student here at CUC, graduate assistant coach for the team. Coach Dev, welcome to the interview table.
Thank you, Pete. Nice to meet you.
Well, I guess let's start with some introductions because you're pretty new to the team. This is your first year on campus, so just tell everyone at home a little bit about your lacrosse background, maybe.
So I started playing lacrosse at a very young age. My father and my brother both played in high school, both all-state players. Unlucky enough, I wasn't able to be on the Illinois all-state team in 2018. But I was able to go to college to play. I played LSM, close defense, and a short stick D-midi at St. Ambrose University, where I got my undergraduate in social work and sports management. I loved it there. Love lacrosse. It's always been a part of my life. Right now, as I'm coaching Concordia Chicago, I'm actually coaching at True Lacrosse right now.
Well, you mentioned it. You got your undergrad degree at St. Ambrose. I know you've only spent a couple months here at CUC, but maybe talk about some of the differences you've seen or are starting to see between the program here at CUC and then your time at St. Ambrose.
So the program here at CUC, I honestly love it. The atmosphere of the boys, it's something different that I kind of had at Ambrose. The atmosphere with the coaches is a lot more here. We're trying to do more for the players mentally, physically. We're trying to be the players, not necessarily older brothers, but older figures, where they can come for us with anything, where I didn't really have that at St. Ambrose. It was really the players helping each other out.
Well, let's talk about what drew you here to CUC to begin with for your graduate degree, because, again, you are a grad student here, not just a coach. So what made CUC the destination you wanted to go post St. Ambrose?
So I actually was looking at some other schools to play lacrosse at. But I thought it was time to put the cleats up.
Always a good time at the CUC lacrosse team.
Always a great time. Sorry about that. But let's get back to it.
All right.
I love how I did it against me.
All right, recollect a little here.
But yeah, so I chose here at CUC because I was kind of wanted to take up the cleats. I've had a number of concussions, so my parents were kind of happy with me deciding to put up the cleats, start coaching. I decided to go to CUC because it has a great sports leadership program. A lot of NBA coaches, NFL coaches are in the Masters program that that I'm taking right now that graduated earlier. So that's just a big thing. It's professional coaches are coaching here. Why not come and help coach, help learn what they know?
Well, Coach Dev, you're going to be here for, this year and probably next year too. So what do you hope to accomplish during your time here? I mean, obviously you want to get your graduate degree, but what do you want to see out of this team as a coach?
Out of this team as a coach, this year specifically, I want us to be grinding off the field and on the field, whether it's education, weightlifting, lacrosse, just being with the guys. I want you guys to be collective as one group as whole. I also want us to go at least to 500. I think that's a pretty standard level where we can go, which we can hit. And probably after the next year, I hope we make a conference run.
Yeah, well, that'd be the goal. All right, one last one to end things on. A bit of a fun one, but if you had to play another sport besides lacrosse, like, for your college career and maybe your coaching career as well, what sport you think you'd pick?
So I wrestled in high school, all of high school,
okay,
all of middle school. So that's definitely the sport I would be playing if I wasn't playing lacrosse right now. I loved wrestling. It's very similar to lacrosse with how fast-paced and what you really have to do on the mat.
All right, well, Coach Dev, we're happy to have you here at Concordia, Chicago. Hopefully we get to go on a spring break trip together, 2023. That's what we're raising money for. Once again, that donation link, cucougars.com, MLAX22/MLAX22, that donation link. Also in the comment section below, we got players still calling names around when they're not having so much fun behind me and Coach Dev. But we're going to take about a 5-minute break here. Coach Gwynn will be back in this seat after that to kind of start wrapping things up here as we're almost at our end time of 8 p.m. So make sure you stick around for that. back here. We have just under 15 minutes left on the 2022 Men's Lacrosse Call-a-thon event. Coach Quinn sitting with me again. Coach, we're just going to, these last 14 or so minutes, we're going to thank the donors one more time at the last 5-minute mark.
Yep.
But till then, we could just open the floor up. So, I mean, I guess let's start with you. Why are you really looking forward to this, making this spring break trip happen?
So I can tell you that from experience, having done a couple of these when I was in college, it builds team chemistry is the big one, right? Having the opportunity to spend that much time together in a space that you're not familiar with, in a place where all you have to focus on is lacrosse, really binds people together. I mean, you create all sorts of weird games to keep yourself entertained. You get travel stories. Maybe something weird happens with the bus, maybe something goofy happens in the hotel, right? A variety of things can happen, especially with a duration of the trip that we're doing. And it creates those lifelong memories, and you share those together. And sharing those together builds more camaraderie. You guys get more team chemistry. And overall, it builds that trust that we're in this together, right? We've been through it. We've been across the country together. We can get through anything together. That's the biggest thing for me, because that's what I remember as a player.
Well, I guess let's kind of build on that a little bit. Your time as a player, you played at Wheeling Jesuit over on the East Coast, and then you were also a grad student at Pitt. You were a GA with the women's basketball team there. Now you've spent a little over a year and a couple months here at CUC.
Yeah.
What makes CUC different than those two schools? Or, I mean, any school that you really have any kind of rapport with. What makes Concordia Chicago, I guess, for lack of a better term?
Yeah. So I'll put it in perspective with my experience at Wheeling was interesting, to say the least.
Okay.
And CUC, believe it or not, is bigger than WJU. So WJU, I think when I went there was only like 900 students or something like that.
Okay.
So tiny experience. I mean, I had classes with like 7 people.
Right.
Then you transfer over to Pitt, right, went in my grad time, and huge classes, these huge lecture halls. I mean, I spent 3 years learning Russian. Can't speak it that well, but I can read and write it decently still. But it was, I'd say the biggest thing about here is when I walked onto campus the first day, and quite literally walked because my car was still in Pittsburgh, because I drove the rental van up here first. And so the car's still back in Pittsburgh, so I'm walking the 45 minutes, and it's like 95 degrees, it's humid. I'm wearing like a suit. I'm sweating profusely, lost on campus.
Yeah.
But I walk in through the corner, right off of Addison by Bonnie Bray, right? So right after you come off to Harlem. And there's a sign there, right? Concordia University, Chicago, founded 1864. And I was overwhelmed, right? It's hot. I'm in a new area. Chicago's slightly bigger than Pittsburgh, right?
A little, right.
And so I walk in, and everything dissipated.
Okay.
And all the noise disappeared from Harlem Street. Everything disappeared. I mean, I'm walking around campus. I clearly don't know what I'm doing, right? It's end of summer.
Right.
I look clearly out of place.
A little, right.
And every single person, first thing they said was, hey, how can I help?
Oh, really?
Hey, how can I help?
Uh-huh.
And even at Wheeling Jesuit, there was an implied they were going to be there for you. At Pitt, it was you had to, as a grad student, you had to find the help yourself. You had to go to the help. But here, it's the help comes to you. And so, with all those varying perspectives I've had, the help comes to you here, right? We don't let people slip through the cracks. We don't let, even me, right? Even as a staff member, they didn't let me fall through the cracks, right? They helped me. They took me directly to the HR office. These people weren't involved in HR. I don't even remember who walked me over there.
Yeah.
But everybody was extremely kind. They were willing to help, even though they didn't know who I was. I could have been some stranger. Yeah. Just wandering around campus, but they went out of their way to help. And I think that stands true today, especially as I become more and more involved in the university, that everybody that's here is here to help one another. And I think that's very special to this community.
Definitely. All right, well, and then last question I got for you, Coach Quinn, and it's in the notes here that we've been going off of all night, but this section does have note that says program update, so maybe some of the future stuff that we're working outside of the spring break trip, of course, which we're raising money, some of the other future updates that you think should be shared right now.
Yeah. So I can share sort of big picture plans.
Yeah.
So, of course, we're increasing the roster size every year. We've got some exciting potential transfers coming in the spring. We've got a couple quality young men already saying, this is the place for me, this is home. I mean, we are building a solid group that we can work with for the future. But that's to be expected when you have a great group of young men like we have here, right? It's intoxicating to be in this culture. It's intoxicating to be at this university, and you find yourself falling in love with it so easily. Like I was saying, people are here to help. The help comes to you here.
Right.
But in terms of big picture, right? If we nail this spring break trip, right? We raise the money. We get the support from the community. We go on this trip. You guys build lifelong friendships and bonds. Well, that's something that future generations of Cougars can get as well. Maybe we open the way for a different sport that hasn't had a trip like this to say, this is possible.
Yeah.
Everybody can do this. Anyone can do this. Anyone can have these types of experiences together. And, we trailblaze, right? You guys hear me say it all the time. We're a program of first. Let's be the first to show this is possible. This is the first step in that, right? On top of that, we're looking to build a fundraising core that's strong enough with a support base that's deep enough where every year we get you guys high-quality protective headgear, right? New helmets every year. Your brain health matters, right?
A
little bit, right?
The most part.
So it also gives you the experience of knowing you're taken care of, right? Just because we're a D3 school, I've been at D2, D1, now at D3. You shouldn't be treated differently just because you're in a different division. And I want that to be a reality for our team, and so that's what this is building towards. So exciting things coming, new helmets every year. We're hoping to get to the point where, we have enough support where we can start offering mesh and heads and potentially even shafts at some point, right? That's the vision for year 5, is to be able to offer you guys shafts. And, next year we're not planning to do a spring break, but the following year we are, right? So every other year. But that means there's going to be new gear, new apparel, higher quality things for next year. It also means that if we do it this year and we build the relationships down in North Carolina, well, maybe we get invited back, or maybe we go someplace new, right? You guys get to experience all the different playing styles, all the different playing cultures year after year after year. And I think that's exciting that we're building towards that, right? Roster's getting bigger, the talent's getting deeper. It's exciting to think about.
Well, before we thank our final donors for the night, we talked about it a little bit before we came on the air this last time, but maybe we flip the script a little. I'm used to the one asking the questions tonight, and then my regular job, of course, in SID. But anything you want to get off your chest towards me? Here's I know we already talked about favorite color. You said favorite movie, but what else? What else you got for me?
Okay, how about this one? This is a topic that's very important to me. For those of you that don't know, I really love food. And so I got to ask, what is the best place to go eat in the nearby community?
Well, as someone who does not live in the nearby community for the summer and my entirety of my life, oh, man. As a college kid who does not have much money, there's a pretty good sub shop down the road, Submarine Teas there.
Yeah.
Little... maybe not the highest establishment, but still very good sandwiches, good milkshakes too.
Yeah.
It's always a fun time there. Frequent at the McDonald's down the street.
Well, it's right down the street.
So again, high fine dining there. I don't know. Again, the CAF campus. It's the CAF.
Yeah.
Take that as you will.
Well, did you have the chili today?
I did not. I'm not usually a chili guy.
Oh man, so I tried the vegetarian chili, and phenomenal.
I'm not a vegetarian either.
Well, I'm not vegetarian, but, shout out to my mom, makes a mean vegetarian chili. And so I was like, well, I got to compare them, right?
Okay.
I got to compare. No, it's not as good as mom's, but it was incredible for what I was expecting. And I got to say, they knocked it out of the park with that chili bar today. So 10 out of 10.
Shout out to Sodexo.
Yep, shout out to Sodexo.
If you're watching,
Mr. Frank, thank you.
Frank from Sodexo, 10 out of 10. We know you're watching, so maybe some of that Sodexo money come our way.
Thank you. Oh, that's a lot.
So we got our final donors list, it looks like.
This is a heck of a list. And Colby Miller. Here, can you write the last couple on there for me? Thank you. All right. You ready to read through the last couple?
Go for it.
All right. So, Milton Quam, thank you for your support and donation. Angelina Bonilla, thank you for your donation. Kathy Cicero and Maris Cicero, thank you for your support and donation. Mark Stanley, thank you for your donation. Again, thank you for your family and for your support over all these years. Tyler Boosie, thank you for your support. Abigail Fisk, thank you for your support. Tyler Hoveter, I hope I'm saying your name right. Thank you for your support. Sylvia Svandoris, thank you for your support. Carol Borkowski, thank you for your support.
Sounds familiar.
Dick Motley and Sheila Motley, thank you for your support. Oh, you have the last paper for me. We got a couple last donations coming in, so thank you. It's fine. Julie Hunt, thank you for your support. Mike Tobin, thank you for your support. Josh Headley, thank you for your support. Claire Urchel, thank you for your support. Alexa Hoover, thank you for your support. John Smallwood, thank you for your support. Mackenzie Click, thank you for your support. Jack Coburn, thank you for your support. Alice Hancock, thank you for your support. Scott Birmingham, thank you for your support. Lucinda Bogda, thank you for your support. Sam Garofalo, thank you for your support. Colby Miller, thank you for your support. And Connor Davis, thank you for your support. I am genuinely overwhelmed at the support and just going out of your way to help us reach our goals. Everyone that's watching, everyone that's donated, anyone that's considered, thank you for everything today. This has been an incredible experience for all of us. I'm usually better with words, but I'm at a loss of words with the support that you guys have given. I just can't express enough gratitude. It means the world to us. So thank you. Peter, thank you for hosting tonight.
No problem.
Kayla, thank you for running behind the scenes. And of course, a big thank you to everybody in the room. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, and Coach, before we do go, that donation link is up for the rest of the semester, correct?
Donation link actually is up for the rest of the year, but we have to meet our goal by January 1st. So you can continue to donate after January 1st, but we're hoping to hit that 19K by January 1. But the link will stay up into May. So if you want to donate, you see us have a couple big wins, and you're like, man, those are the guys for me. Feel free to support. We'd be appreciative. Thank you.
One more time, that link, cucougars.com/mlax22. But it is 7:59-ish. I think that's close enough to call it, Coach.
Close enough, yeah.
So maybe any last-minute big donations would still be appreciated. But that'll do it for the 2022 Men's Lacrosse Telethon event. Once again, thank you, everyone, for your support right now as well as throughout the year. Hopefully we'll be able to see some of you guys out in the stands or watching us virtually come the springtime when we open up play here at Concordia. But, Coach, any final words?
Come out to the home opener against Wabash. It's going to be a good one.
Come out to the home opener against Wabash. All right, see you later, everyone. Thanks again for watching.